My cherry pick for 2025 is The Wilting Flowers by Henry Crew. Henry used black pastel to draw a beautiful flower bunch in a vase. I was struck by the bright and joyful colors in the background, contrasting with the subject's faded flowers. It looks like the colors of the flowers are spread on the entire painting. And we can see a beautiful rainbow on what appears to be a table, like a ray of light coming from a window. I can't wait to see the next work of this young artist.
I chose Love and Vine by Jim Adams because of the mood and atmosphere created by the sense of space and light in the small graphite drawing. A low-key value range is used to make the forest seem deep and lush, while the main characters of the story stand out in relief thanks to the dimensional shading technique that gives solidity to the figures and makes the light in this imagined world believable. For me, this image works like a still from a movie or a page from an illustrated book, and I want to know more about the story. I recommend you spend some time with a small drawing and let it go to work on your imagination.
This is Brian Egan, and I chose as my cherry pick Children at the Library by Angelin Voss, who captured the innocence of the boy who abandoned green eggs and ham for the real-life scene out the library window. The horizontal line of the windowsill dramatically splits the seriousness of his sister, seated comfortably on the sofa, with his fantasy of riding the rails.
The linoleum print by Donna Jepson Minyard, entitled The Weaver, highlights the tight links between people and wildlife. We share the same world and we have similar skills. I like the simplicity of the design and the bold colors, yellow and blue, that make the shape stand out. I admire the skill it took to carve the drawing on linoleum block and to use bright watercolor paint to brighten the drawing. A peaceful statement of the cohabitation of birds and men.
One of the innovations in contemporary quilt making from the last couple of years has been the creation of fabric bowls. Up till now, I always wondered why quilters bothered to make their perfectly fine, flat quilts into slightly banal objects that couldn't be used as their ceramic or wood equivalents. Then I saw Belinda Barnes' Parker Creek. The subject is the flow of a stream of water through rocks and leaves. The flow makes the bowl shape entirely convincing and appropriate. The contrast between the wide stream and the dark rock and leaf shapes emphasizes that flow. None of this is very precise. As viewers, we get lots of room for interpretation. As a whole, the piece intrigues. The palette is subtle and natural. This, while the entire work can be read as an abstract, as well as an image with a narrative. As good art does, it makes you wonder.
Carol Chappell's Fox is one of the many pieces in the exhibition that prompts a longer look. While the complementary oranges and blues immediately catch the eye, it's the juxtaposition of stillness and perceived movement that I appreciate most. Strong strokes of blue are allowed to drip downward, grounding you in a cold, wet landscape you can almost feel. The fox stares back at the viewer, his tail anxiously swishing, twirling in the wind, ready to bolt.
I chose Deborah Wolf's David Crosby Musician as my 2025 Howland cherry pick. This tenderly expressive portrait of rock and roll's Hall of Famer David Crosby, rendered in graphite and watercolor, reflects back upon the viewer that good portraiture is all about the eyes. Looking with David back in time to the mid-60s, when he rocked with the legendary folk rock psychedelia band called The Byrds, I'm reminiscing the timeless song written by Pete Seeger, made famous by Crosby and the Byrds, called Turn, Turn, Turn. To everything there is a season, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late as we turn, turn, turn.
I was attracted to Representation, a fiber arts work by Christine Berg. The artist is showing a patchwork of connection, indicating a vibrant community comprised of different sized sections, each with distinct characteristics, yet are still bonded together. The way the blue pieces are placed at a different angle to the bright red and other more vibrant sections seem to suggest a community in transition. The strong and bold stitches connecting the sections remind us that a deep connection can still be present even in the midst of change.
When I look at Three Stones by J.C. Breyer, I can imagine the water flowing over the smooth stones in a tiny stream. The shapes of the rocks also mimic a person sitting in a yoga pose. This is a perfect piece to add to a meditation space.
My cherry pick is Driving Through the Forest by Mark Ellison. I really like how the artist relied on large blocks of color and not detailed brushwork to give the appearance of motion.
Looking around at all this art, one piece stood to me apart. Despite its freedom from pretension, it commanded my attention. To a fairy's understanding of flight's need for launch and landing, this room's absence of a ceiling helps to make it most appealing. By the bedside lies a book, inviting you to take a look, to find out why, or maybe how, if Lottie is a spotted cow. At last, when all is said and done, this piece conveys pure joy and fun. That's for sure no easy trick, so that's why it's my cherry pick.
Pool by Andrew Myers is Nelina Vargas's cherry pick because it beautifully showcases a painterly, gestural approach to printmaking. She appreciates the simplicity of the color palette and can envision the artist's intentional marks on the printmaking tape before pressing it onto paper. Knowing that it's a monotype makes it even more special to her. It's truly a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork.
It's a bird! It's a plane! It's the flying toadapple! I am first drawn to Daniel Dang's painting by the glowing reds and oranges mingled in a central orb. Then I see bold, arcing brushstrokes and swirls in the background, and I feel the wind rushing past. When I read Daniel's title, I smile and laugh. Of course it's a flying toadapple. I feel joy with this painting and become intrigued. How did the toadapple take flight? And perhaps more importantly, what will be its fate upon descent? Of course, I'm hoping for a soft landing in a pair of lucky hands.
May Sansom's sculpture showcases impressive craftsmanship with its contrasting colors and textures to create a visually striking piece. May invites the viewers to peer behind the scenes, revealing the meticulous craftsmanship involved in her work. She offers a glimpse into the process that brings this piece to life. The wire structure, the intricate twists of chainmail, the layers of paper mache creeping over it, and the fleshy red underside add striking contrast, enhancing this visual impact and depth of the artwork.